Okay, good morning everybody. Welcome to our Motivational March group. My name is Kitty and this is our day 2. So this week we are very much talking about how to become more visible as a performer. I gave you all a task yesterday to post pictures and your links and you all smashed it. Some people even went as far as posting all our other community groups. Some people messaged me directly with their socials and stuff, so I really loved that. That was really, really good. Everyone listened to the advice of making yourself stand out. Okay, that is super important as a performer. We need to be, as a performer, look at me, look at me, look at me, because if people aren't looking at you, you're not getting booked. You do not want to be the best kept secret in this industry. You have to shout about yourself. No one else is going to do it for you. So today we're going to talk about different ways to get visible. I talked a lot about social media yesterday, and I actually thought to myself a bit later on, I thought, hang on a minute, before we delve into the social media part, I want to talk about the other ways to be visible, okay? So there's lots of different ways. If I asked you guys, how are you becoming visible as a performer, the majority of you are going to say, social media content. You're going to be posting content, and that is great. Content is great because, one, it's free. You can reach anybody in the world, all the things that I said yesterday. However, you are at the mercy of the social media algorithms. Sometimes I'll post a post and it'll get 1,000 likes and it'll get 30k views, and then I'll post that exact same post a month later and it gets 100 likes and it gets maybe 1,000 views. There's no rhyme or reason to how it all works. There's a little bit of strategy, but sometimes you can post a post that's done really well and it can just totally bomb. So we don't really have any control over who's seeing our posts and how much Instagram or TikTok or Facebook are pushing them out. As much as you can learn about social media, you can get really good at it, and then the next week the algorithm changes, okay? So yes, content has to be part of our visibility strategy, but there are a lot of other strategies of becoming visible, okay? So I'm going to talk to you a little bit. I've got a list of all the different ones that I specifically use. So first of all, yes, content, great. I'm going to go into that in a lot more depth over the next couple of days because I think that is an important one, and that is one that we can all access easily. Doesn't matter whether you can leave your home or not, you can do that, okay? There are other ones that are probably going to take a little bit more effort, a little bit more effort of getting to a place, or a little bit more expensive of paying to go to something, but some of these ones are really, really great. So first of all, in-person events, going to shows, going to festivals, going to networking events like the conference that I run in January, anything like that where you're actually physically getting in front of people and you're making friends with them. A lot of the people who come to my conference will tell you they're in this group and they've made friends for life. I've seen them all. They didn't know each other until they've been to the conference, and then they're posting pictures yesterday and talking about themselves, and they were all in each other's comments, bigging each other up because they've made an actual friendship. And I know that those people then go to teach at that person's school or go to perform in that person's show, and it's they collaborate with each other. And that's because they've met at an in-person event. The vibe around an in-person event is something that you just can't recreate online. Online is great, and I really love online because, one, I'm a stay-at-home mom. Two, it's free. It's a free resource, but there is nothing better than actually going to a festival or going to watch a show and actually conversing with the people that you want to work with or for, okay? So that would be one way of getting more visible. That is something that I'm doing more and more this year, not just to be visible and to get more jobs, but because it just makes you feel better. It raises your vibration. You feel great when you come out of a class or a weekend of workshops, or you've been to a show and you've met some new people. You feel really good, okay? So that is also a bonus, all right? Other things that I do, podcasts. So if you get an opportunity to go on a podcast, take it. Yeah, you're not going to get paid for it, most unlikely. yeah, but it's a really, really good way of getting in front of other people's audiences, particularly people who have big audiences that are your specific ideal client, okay? So there are some like performers podcasts around, but dance school podcasts, there's a lot of those. Any kind of like women in business podcasts, if you're a female performer, like think about who your ideal client is, who you want to be getting seen by. If you're an instructor, that like you're going to have two sets of ideal clients. You're going to have your ideal client for who you want to perform for, i.e. producers and agents who create particular kinds of shows, and then you're going to have the kind of people who you want to book you to teach, whether that be other dance studios bringing you in as a guest teacher or the specific kind of students that you want to teach. Because I have multiple businesses and a lot of my business have multiple parts of them, I have lots of different ideal clients and I have to be really clear on who they are. And we are going to talk in depth about ideal client in a couple of days' time, but I just want you to think about getting in front of other people's audiences. So podcast is a really good one. Getting in front of other people's audiences as well is really good if you do collaborations or you go to do guest workshops at other people's schools. When I used to have my martini glass, I'd travel around the country, I'd do martini glass workshops. Those people who did the workshop were not my students, they were someone else's students, but they loved the workshop, they'd be interested, and then they might filter into one of my other events or one of my online classes or some of my online coaching, whatever it is, that's putting me in front of other people's audiences as well. When I do the conference in January, I book like really great instructors who have big followings because they're professional performers. So not only am I promoting to my audience, but when those instructors announce that they're going to be teaching at that event, they're announcing that to their audience as well. So that's bringing in their audience. And then obviously when they get the footage of their workshops and stuff, they post it on their socials. Again, that's getting my event in front of more audiences, okay? And obviously the people that attend post about that event. Yeah, every time we run that event, I get absolutely loads and loads and loads of new followers because all their friends and people that are on their socials start following. The instructors, the students that come to watch, everybody, okay? So that's a really good way of reaching out. Now, that's a big task because that's a big event, but some of you guys who've done my 6-figure Showgirl course, you're at a point now where you're starting to think about running those kind of large-scale events that I run. So that's a really good way of you getting in front of other audiences, really thinking carefully about who you book and choose to be collaborating with and to be teaching at your events. Because the people who are the most visible on social media are gonna also boost your popularity as somebody who runs an event as well. Yeah, it's going to boost your ticket sales and all that. But we're not really talking about that today. We're talking about performers. If you're collaborating as a performer, it could be you getting a guest performer in to do something. Like I run an online dance school, don't I? I get guest performers to come in. That gets them on in front of my audience. And then I go and do guest performance slots at other people's stuff and that gets me in front of their audience. There's loads of different ways of doing that, okay? So in-person events, we've talked about content and we've talked about collaborations, i.e. through podcasts or through guest workshops and stuff like that. You could use paid ads. I've seen other performers use paid ads for their workshops or for just getting more awareness around their brand, i.e. getting more followers to their pages. It is a bit of a minefield learning paid ads. Yeah, it obviously costs you money. If you don't really understand it, you can waste money really quite easily. So that will be something that will be at the bottom of my visibility plan because it's paid and it's something that I really need to go into and to research, yeah? I'm going to do all these other layers first before I start thinking about something like that, all right? Now, this is a massive one, community, okay? So you are currently in a community, yeah? This whole motivational March thing is a community, okay? So when other people post, are you engaging with the other people in this group, yeah? Because if you went to a networking event or you went to any kind of event, let's say a show or whatever, and somebody came up to you and said, hi, I'm Kitty, nice to meet you, I'm a professional burlesque and circus performer, and then I just fucked off. I never asked you about you. I never interacted with you in any way. I'm literally just like telling you about me, but I'm not consuming anything about you. Would you gel with me as a person or not? Of course you wouldn't, okay? So when you're interacting in this group, yes, I want you to be visible. I want you to post about yourselves. I want you to be like, obnoxiously, look at me, here's all about me. But you also have to interact with the other people in the group. When you start interacting, you're going to start creating like actual relationships with people. You're going to start learning more about them. You're going to start creating like bonds where they start seeing your content more, you start seeing their content more. I've got people who are in my original old coaching group that I started in lockdown that I have never ever met in my whole life, in this whole 5 years, but who have booked me for things, who recommend me for all kinds of things, and I do the same for them. And that is because in that group I built relationships. I didn't just talk at people. Like when you guys yesterday were posting your stuff, if I saw it, I will respond to that and create a conversation with you. Because one, I want to learn about you, but also if I'm just talking at you and I'm not taking in anything about you guys, I'm not building any kind of valid relationship. And I can't take on students or clients or get bookings or sell things if I'm not willing to build those relationships. The relationship is really, really important. So I want you to think about when you're interacting in communities, not just showing up because I've asked you to do a task, but also showing up because you are purposefully trying to build relationships. I'm not talking about building fake relationships. I'm talking about building relationships because you want to know more about people and you want to learn about people. Does that make sense? On my social media, if somebody interacts with me constantly, I'm more likely to follow them back, then I'm more likely to comment on their social media, and then I'm more likely to get to know them, feel like I like, know and trust them, and then go ahead and book them. Yeah. So the people that are in my comments all the time on any of my socials, I often feel like I know those people already. So if I put a casting out and they drop into my inbox, I already psychologically have built up some kind of like, know and trust factor, or they've built that up with me by continuously commenting on my socials. It's built up some kind of like rapport between us, so that when they drop into my inbox, I'm going to think, oh yeah, that person comments on my stuff all the time. They seem like really lovely. I've seen like the footage and they look great. Maybe I'll give them a chance this time to like come into one of my shows. That is how people work. Like, even though we're all professionals, we are all at the mercy of just normal psychology. And if you're not interacting with people and making other people feel like they matter, then you're not building relationships. Building relationships and visibility is the key to success as a performer. It does not matter how talented you are as a performer, how sparkly your costume is, how wonderfully done up you are, if nobody knows who you are and everyone thinks you're a bit of a dick because you don't like interact with people, or you're not very nice backstage. Yeah, being nice and being a genuine person who can build relationships with people and being seen constantly are your two go-to factors as a performer. Like, if you don't have those two things, it doesn't matter how good you are at your performances or your acts, you're just not going to get the same amount of bookings as somebody else who might not be as technically perfect or might not be as much of a fabulous performer. But if you're easy to work with and you're just genuinely a person who wants to be part of the community and wants to interact, it's going to do you the world of good. Okay, so if you take nothing away from these 30 days, visibility and building relationships are your two like superpowers. Okay, if you can do that, that's why I was so successful. I am not the most talented performer in any way. I was never the most talented aerialist. I was never the most flexible. I was never the best burlesque performer technically, but I am really good at building relationships. I am a nice person, and I am really good at marketing and being visible. Yeah, and that is what got me a successful career. Okay, so if that is what you're wanting, yeah, obviously we want to work on our craft all the time and get better and better, but we also need to do those things. They are like the pinnacle of being successful. Okay, so they're my things that I would say need to be part of your visibility strategy. So if you're not doing a few of those things, you're just posting content, yeah, and you're doing that daily or you're doing it haphazardly, then you need to start incorporating some of these things in. Okay, so start looking for actual events that you can go to. Okay, yeah, these things are going to cost you money, but if you're a professional performer, if you go to a show or you go to a workshop day or you go to a class, they're all tax deductible things. Like if I go on a retreat as part of my learning something to do with performing, that's tax deductible. That just comes off my tax bill at the end of the year. Yeah, if you come into something like the conference, or you come into a day of workshops, or you go into a class, or whatever it is that you're doing, if you're a professional performer and you're getting paid to perform, they are all tax deductible things. So you've got to start seeing these things as investments into your business. Yeah. So go away and think about today what you're going to add into your visibility plan. For me, because I've been a new mum over the past couple of years, I wasn't traveling around to teach, and I wasn't going to other people's events. I wasn't going to classes because I just couldn't at that time. But now I can. They are things that I've built into my visibility strategy. Because I couldn't go to other places though, when I was pregnant, decided, well, I'm not going to be able to be going here, there and everywhere. So I created the Showgirl conference, where hundreds of people every January now come to my hometown, which is 2 minutes walk from my house, the venue. I just walk down there. Everybody comes to me. I created that because I wanted to still remain visible and still remain relevant in the industry, even though I couldn't be going out. So I've managed to maintain that without having to physically travel to other people's places. So there's lots of ways you can do these things, okay? I'm now thinking this year of adding in more going to events. I'm going to a workshop every month. One, it's continuing professional development. It's improving me. Two, it's building relationships with that instructor, the people that are within the class. It also makes me feel good. It's exercise, whatever. There's loads of benefits to it, okay? But that's something that I couldn't do. So I don't want people to say, oh, well, it's all right for you, Kitty, but I've got 3 kids, so I can't just go to a workshop, or I work full time and I'm only doing this on top. Yeah, I get it. It is hard for some people, or I've got a disability, so I can't just swan off here and there and everywhere. Again, totally get it. There's loads of different ways though you can create visibility without having to do all those things on that list, okay? So your task today is to go away and think of at least one extra thing you can add into your visibility plan. And I'm going to tell you this now, at the end of this month, I'm going to be restarting my podcast. Well, it's going to start this month, but the people that will be on it first will be the people that are in my memberships and the people that are in my instructor training. So they'll get first dibs on being on the podcast. But if you are someone who would like to come onto my Successful Showgirl podcast, obviously it will go on my socials where there's 6k people, and then I've got other social medias that have got about 5k each as well. We've got a YouTube channel. I've got a group where there's 2,000 people in that as well. It'll go out to our email list too. If that's something that you want to do, you'll have the opportunity to book onto that at the end of the month. Okay, so that's an opportunity that's already going to come up for you guys. All right. But you might not feel comfortable doing something like that already. And again, that's fine. Choose the things that make you feel comfortable and then start adding them in to your visibility plan. So go away today, write out a visibility plan, okay? I'm going to create content every day. So for me, my visibility plan this month is to create content every day to you guys. That's me being visible in front of you lot every single day for the next month. That is going to create, between me and you, the people that gel with the things that I say and the people who join in every day. That's going to create a relationship and a rapport between us, where you guys will hopefully understand that I know what I'm talking about, you'll like, know and trust me, and then that might filter you guys into another one of my programs. It might not, and again, that doesn't matter. You will have come away from this and you will have learned. But that is part of my visibility strategy, if that makes sense. Then these videos that I'm teaching to you guys then go onto our YouTube channel. Again, that's building my visibility strategy. So anybody that follows me on YouTube, they will get to see these videos. Yeah. And then little snippets of these will all be chopped up for little mini trainings on my Instagram, like 30-second trainings or whatever, about like tiny little topics, not as in depth as this one. Again, part of the visibility strategy. Yeah, they're content visibility strategies, but then I'll also add in other things like going to places, teaching at other people's dance schools, bringing in expert teachers to my school so that I get in front of their audience, going on podcasts. I was on a podcast last month, going on podcasts, doing things like this where I'm getting in front of other people's audiences, and you guys can do this too, okay? Right, that's your plan for today. So go off, have a little think at what you can add into your busy schedules that might be able to boost your visibility. Please don't get bogged down with thinking you have to do all the things. You don't. You do the things that you're most comfortable with first. You do the things that are financially available to you first. You do the things that are physically available to you first. And you do the things that are time-wise easiest to do first. Does that make sense to everyone? All right. I hope that was helpful. Let me know in the comments if you've got any questions, or if there's any specific parts that have resonated with you or that you've not thought of and you're going to go off and you're going to do them now. But I will see you all tomorrow, and we are going to get into content tomorrow because like I just feel like it's just such an important part of being a performer that we need to know what we're doing instead of just like throwing shit at the wall and seeing if it sticks. We've got to like start understanding how to create a content strategy that actually gets us booked. All right. Okay. Thank you for joining me, everyone. I will see you all tomorrow.